Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. So it's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild, all his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off. Online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and today's episode we are joined by a very special guest, current professional hockey goaltender Bailey Mcburney. Bailey is currently playing in the Federal Prospects Hockey League for the Columbus River Dragons. This is Bailey's first official pro season, as he has also gotten the call-ups to the Southern Professional Hockey League with the Peoria Rivermen and the Quad City Storm, where he started this season off. Bailey played his junior hockey days in the BCHL before playing 4 years of NCAA Division III hockey with UMass Boston before turning pro last season. So this can be a fun episode, Bailey. So welcome to the show, Bailey Mcburney.
Hey, Jack. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I've seen your podcast a few times. Big fan. So really excited to be a part of it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the kind words, and good to get a fan on the show. It's gonna be a good one. But to start things off here, like, how have you been? You've been enjoying that 80-degree weather in Columbus I've been hearing about.
Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. My first experience playing hockey in warm weather, so it's definitely really awesome. You know, you wake up, you go to the rink, and you might need a sweatshirt or sweatpants, but as soon as you get out of practice, you're looking at anywhere from 65 to 80-degree weather. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, what do you and the boys do when it is like 80 degrees? Like, what do you guys do after practice?
Yeah, the guys love to golf. I'm not the best golfer, but definitely like to get outside. We have some cool trails here, right near the apartments, and we have a really nice pool. So just the other day, I was sitting out there relaxing. So I just like to kick it.
Yeah, can't get much better than that. Just kicking at the pool, like golfing with the boys on the occasion, just being outside and hitting the trails. Like, nothing better than being in the South during the middle of winter in hockey season.
Yeah, it was the middle of December, and we had a weekend homestand, and it was 75 degrees.
That's not bad. That's perfect weather right there.
Yeah, so you can't really beat it, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. But to start things off before we get on to like this season, like can you give our viewers a little background information on yourself, like when you started playing hockey, why you started, like what made you go into the goaltending position?
Yeah. So I started playing when I was around 9 or 10, which is pretty crazy. My dad played college hockey at North Adams State back when Division II was around, when all those Division I schools were Division II schools.
Yeah.
So he was an All-American. He played. So he kind of got me into it. His older brother, my uncle David, was a goalie in high school, but he went on and to play professional tennis instead of continuing to play collegiately in the goaltender position. But yeah, I was always really fascinated by it. Enjoyed skating out, but there was something about always just kind of being involved in the game, the pressure of it. I really enjoyed right away. I enjoyed the gear. It just one day I just put on the gear, and then that was it. And I didn't really look back.
Yeah, and you get to customize the gear and everything, like just the whole like position itself. Like you're on the ice for 60 minutes. You get to customize your mask, your pads, like your chest C, whatever. Like it's a fully customized position, and like that's what I think draws a lot of people to is customization, like the personalized touch that you can add on to your gear.
Yeah, that's really funny you said that. My mom has a funny story. I don't really remember it, but my mom would always tell me when we would go to Bruins games, living in Massachusetts. My mom would always tell me, I would tell her I liked the costume, the goalie's costume. Yeah, so that was at a young age, and then got into the position and didn't really look back.
And now you're wearing your own goalie costume.
Yep, every day.
Yeah, but it's amazing to see how far you've come since those youth hockey days. Like, what was youth hockey like in Massachusetts back in the day?
Yeah, so I started playing for my town in Beverly, Massachusetts. I grew up with a great group of guys, and we stayed together all the way till high school, and then everyone kind of either went to Beverly High School or went to a prep school or went to these Division I high schools in Massachusetts. And but everyone really stayed in touch, so it was a really great group. There's not really many people still playing hockey, so it's cool to look back on some of those early memories.
Yeah, absolutely. And like when you look back at like youth hockey, like you just think about all the like everything like you experience, like all the memories, like maybe winning a championship as a little kid and just like playing the game like we all do like right now. Like it all goes back to like when we're younger and like falling in love with the game and then still having that love for the game right now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really great point. That's a great point. Waking up, some days you might be tired or, might not be having a good day, but, just to be able to, put your gear on and play at a professional level and, get paid, it's a real treat, and I try my best not to, take anything for granted. Nothing is going to be given to you. You're going to have to earn everything. So
Yeah,
that's that's kind of my mindset.
yeah, and I can tell you for a fact we all love playing hockey and getting up like 5 a.m. rather than going to school or anything else. Like it's like Christmas morning when you have like that early hockey game. Like you have to get up super early and just like just going to the rink and just having fun with the team and just being able to put your gear on, like you said. Like that's what brings everyone back, and like that's what it's all about. Like that's the most fun memories that you have, like especially as a little kid.
Absolutely. And now, my first year as a professional, waking up and going to the locker room every day. We have such a great locker room here in Columbus, such a great group of guys. We all really mesh well together. And, I've been on teams where extremely talented groups, but, there wasn't a good chemistry. And that's not the case here. So, going to the rink every day here in Columbus it's a blessing. So that's all I can really say.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've turned down a bunch of call-ups this year as well to stay in Columbus. Like what
Yep.
makes it so special to stay in Columbus, especially like with like besides for like the team bonding and like how close you guys are and just like everything that you have in Columbus?
Yeah, we have a really great group of guys. Not to mention our facilities. Where we live, we get treated really, really well here. Um, but it all kind of goes back to your leadership, the room, the overall team, and um, with our captains, Josh Petri-Antonio, Jay Krupp, MJ Graham, Austin Day. We really have a tight knit group, and it's going to be exciting, towards the end of the year. So I don't see myself going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Kruppy's a good friend of the show. He's been on the podcast, so just add another Columbus River Dragon to the lineup.
Yeah, it's a really, really funny story. So I don't even know really where to begin with this, but so Quad City protected me for 2 years, during I believe it was 2 years, because COVID didn't have their season, and then the next season rolled over and they protected me again, and that was the team I was planning on spending the year with.
Yeah.
And had no idea who Jay Krupp was. He was also picked up by Quad, and we ended up sitting next to each other in the locker room, and had no idea who he was. And one day, we hit it off right away. But he's a great friend of mine. But one day I'm in the ice bath after one of our practices in Quad, and one of my best friends gives me a call. His name's Sean Barry, and he calls me. He's like, "Bailey, what's going on?" I'm like, "Nothing, just icing. How are you?" He's like, "Is Jay Krupp on your team?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like he sits next to me in the locker room. So this is one of my best friends that also is really close friends with Jay Krupp. And right then and there, right when I got that phone call, I was like, "Yeah, this guy's awesome." And things didn't end up working out for me in Quad City. They had a goalie that was sent down from the ECHL, and Jay really wanted me to go to Columbus, and that was kind of it. He gave me a call and asked me if I wanted to leave Peoria, picked me up from Peoria, and we drove 14 hours all the way to Columbus, and we haven't really looked back since. So it's been a great time. I'm really really fortunate to be on such a great organization. I can't say enough about this team and the club. So
Yeah, absolutely. And what a story. Like some things you never expect would happen, and like the way it played out, like something must be going right, and like someone must be watching over you and like stuff like that. And just being able to like have like that opportunity to come to Columbus after getting released from Quad City, and then like Peoria as well, and then coming into Columbus. And you've had quite a ride so far with Columbus, where you're 12-5 right now with like 36 games played, it says on your elite prospects. Like, what's it been like for you personally and the team's success as well?
yeah, we have a great team. We have, we're very offensive. We have, a great group of defense. It's the hockey's a bit different from what I'm used to. It's a bit more offensive. So you're seeing more shots, and you're seeing more quality shots. So that took a little bit of an adjustment for me, but once you get your feet wet and you get used to the game, pretty easy to pick up. But it's just a little bit more offensive than what it was like in the SPHL. In the SPHL there was a bit more defense and perimeter shots. But I'm definitely enjoying it. I feel like I'm really improving on all levels of my own game, and I like being that guy every night to go out there and know that you have to make these big saves in order to win the games. So I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's like, what have you learned from this experience when you're facing a lot more pucks and like a lot more like dead plays become like dangerous scoring opportunities and all that, and like you just have to face a lot of shots and make a ton of saves like every single night? It's like, what has been something you learned from that experience to help yourself develop?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd feel being prepared off the hop, right? making sure your team is, whether they're, having a good start or a slow start, you want to be able to go into the dressing room where, you've given your team a chance to win, but, also understanding that, if you give one up or if you give two up, to reset and be ready for the next one. So nothing really changes in my game. Just going out there and giving my team a chance to win every night. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, so that's a great learning curve to learn. And like, what do you do to help yourself adapt to like when you do give up that one or two goals and like you have to settle back in? Like, what are some of like the anchor points you use to help yourself stay mentally focused? Because goaltending is such a mental game. Like, especially when things go wrong, like you have to continue to have that positive mindset. So like, what do you do to help yourself have that positive mindset and get right back into the flow of things in the game?
Yeah. It's just all about resetting, let's say you give one up, have some water, reset, and then get ready to go. Always, thinking about what's coming at you next. It's belief too, right? Like you believe in yourself and, I really believe in, my team here in Columbus, and, every night I know that they're going to go out and do everything that they can. And I know that's how they feel about me as well. So, just hand in hand, working together to, go out there and produce and execute.
Yeah, and that's like the biggest thing is having belief in yourself as well as your team, because if you don't believe in yourself, who else is going to believe in you? You just got to be your biggest supporter and like biggest guy out there to have that belief in yourself and know that you have what it takes to do whatever you can to help the team win some games.
Absolutely. Spot on.
Yeah. So like throughout like this year so far, like you've obviously won 12 games. Like what was it like getting that first pro win?
Yeah, my first pro win. It's really interesting actually. I took a little bit longer than expected. I was in Quad City. The goalie that started my first professional game, I'm backing up. He gets yanked in the second period. I go in. We ended up losing that game. The next night I start and we lost in a shootout. And then my first game in Columbus, it was pretty crazy. We won in a shootout against Carolina. I get off the ice, and we celebrated my team's getting off the ice.
Yeah.
And the refs call it back, no goal.
Oh, is this like the controversy goal? Yeah.
I'm in the locker and my gear's off, my chest checker's off. And I get the refs coming in and saying, hey, we got to get you back on the ice. So I put all my gear on. I've never seen anything like this. And Carolina ends up winning in the shootout.
Oh.
That next night, though, we ended up beating them 6-1, had 40 saves. So that was my first professional win. Yeah, it was a great win at home. It was a big crowd. We have pretty intense fans here in Columbus. They really do. They really show up. So every night we play in Columbus, it's special. So yeah, I'll never forget that one.
Yeah, you think you have 2 wins on the weekend and then you end up coming away with 1 because of a controversial play, but at least you get that first pro win and like get that monkey off your back.
Yeah. It's funny. One of my best friends on the team, MJ Graham, he scored that goal. You can watch it, and clearly was a goal. And then he's actually had 2 other goals this year that were called back, or that were called no goals. But when we go back and review them, they went in the net. So yeah, he's a little bit snake bit, and kind of upset about all that. But he's a great player, and he's doing a good job for us. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And like talking about like the fan base, like you said, like Columbus like has a really good fan base. So like what's it like playing in front of those fans every single night, especially like when they come and pack the Civic Center?
Yeah, it brings this feeling of confidence for our group. we really play well at home, and they're a big part of that. We just had a military night, and we set a record for fans. I believe it was like 6,500 that night. So that was the most the rinks had in quite some time, or the Civic Centers has had in quite some time. So that was good to see. We have a whiteout weekend coming up here in a few weeks, couple
I'm
weeks.
sure that one's going to be big as well.
Yeah, I know the Civic Center sits around like 7,500, something like that, and I think it's going to be close. So it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, that's unreal. And like, like all the energy is going to be brought into the home games because of like all the fans, and like I've seen from the YouTube live streams of the games, like everyone like loves Columbus River Dragons hockey, and like it's the place to play.
Yeah, we get it's funny you say that. We get everyone's game 7. I feel like I know that there's a lot of players out there that have wanted to come here, and for whatever reason, sometimes things just don't work out. So
Yeah.
we definitely see, majority of teams game 7, especially when they come and play us here in Columbus or even on the road. A lot of teams, and I feel like a lot of people just don't like the River Dragons. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but you're playing your best hockey, and they're playing their best hockey when you guys play each other, and like that's what brings up the intensity of every single game you guys play.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of how I like to think too. You kind of want everyone's best game, just because you're trying to get better and improve.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys recently clinched a playoff spot in the Federal Hockey League's playoffs this year. So like what do you expect? Like how excited are you going forward into the playoffs and just trying to make a run for a championship again?
Yeah, we're really poised, and I think we're ready for it. Some of our top guys are out right now with injuries. Paul Frgeau, defenseman, and Jagger Williamson. So we're excited to get those two back pretty soon here. And to be honest with you, we haven't really even gotten started yet. We'll go on a 6-game winning streak, 5-game winning streak, and have a bad game. And I think we're at the point now where we're ready to nip that in the butt and really start dominating, which is scary to think about because I feel like we haven't really hit our stride yet, which is exciting.
Yeah, and once playoff hit, like that's where you wanna like hit that peak and be like, and have like those like games that you haven't like had before, and like everyone's on top of their game, like energy's through the roof. Like that's what makes playoffs fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We're pushing. We're gonna finish in either, I believe, first or second place. So we really want that home ice advantage. So we're going to do everything we can to, finish in first or second.
Yeah, absolutely. And for this podcast, like I like to ask this question, like what was your favorite, or what was your first like pro moment where like what is going on? Like what the heck is happening? Like what was your first like pro like story that you had going up into the pro ranks?
Yeah. So obviously COVID was difficult. But I would say, my first game with Quad City, I'm on the bench, backing up. And before you know it, I get the tap on my shoulder. The head coach over at Quad City, Chezzy, a great guy, gives me the tap on the shoulder, and he's like, "Yeah, you're Mcburney, go in." Packed out rink over our arena over at I forget what it's called over there, but beautiful arena in Quad City, and opening night, and I'm in the net. Before you know it, I'm in the net in the second period, and I was really nervous. First pro game, I thought I was going to get to start the net. I had an idea I was going to get to start the next night, so I was going to have a bit more preparation. But ended up going in and got a shutout the remaining 2 periods. So, right when I settled into that game, I was kind of like, this is awesome. It's like addicting. All the fans, and I said to myself, I can see myself doing this for for quite some time moving forward. So it was a really exciting moment for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like throughout like your time in the SB, like what has been like some of the things you learned, especially like going up from the federal league to the SB and like facing like a lot more like, I wouldn't say simpler game, but like a lot more like calmer and not as many broken plays that end up in high scoring chances, and just like being able to just adjust to that level of play.
Yeah, that's a great question. The way I look at it is, you know, your body and your skill set and your brain, if you give it time and you put the effort in, is going to adapt, is going to be able to adapt to any level.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. Each level you go up or each level you go down. I feel like, there's going to be a bit of a transition, and it just comes naturally, to me at least, where you get those reps in, and you get your feet wet, and you settle on in. So with opportunity, in adjustment, that's how you find success.
Yeah, it's all about like those little time increments to help you adapt and adjust to the game. And then like once you're adjusted to the game, like that's when you see your game, like your game just improve a lot, and like your confidence level goes up as well throughout that time.
Yeah, and another point on that is I'm really good at slowing the game down. I'm not afraid to just take the puck and get a whistle, or speed up the game where you have to go out and play the puck or move the puck. So I feel like I've always been very talented at being able to control the pace of the game. Felt like I was able to do that in the SP, and doing it now. So that's some stuff I really try to focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. So like with this being your first pro season, like you've also gotten your first pro fight a couple months ago. It's like what happened with that, and like what were the events leading up to it? Because I believe it was against Port Huron, right?
Yeah, so we had a 3-game weekend, 3 games in a row, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I played Friday in Biloxi, where we won 2-1, close game. Played in front of like 9,500 people. So it was almost 10,000 people. So they're bringing hockey back to Mississippi, which is exciting, and they have phenomenal fans as well. So we played that game. I was pretty tired. It's really warm there. I believe it was like 88 degrees when we played that night, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And so I didn't play on Saturday. We ended up winning that game too. And then on Sunday I played, and it was a really weird game. We were beating them pretty good, but it wasn't like Port Huron wasn't playing well. I think they had 4 or 5 breakaways in the first period and halfway through the second period. And I forget what happened, but I remember Jagger Williamson skating up the boards, and somebody just 2-hands him or gives him something really, really nasty, and I just a big brawl breaks out, and I don't even know what happened. I just started skating because it would have been a media timeout. So I just started skating out, and the other goalie in Port Huron, I think he was the backup at this point. I think the starter already got pulled. So he started skating out too. And I'm not sure if he thought I was trying to be aggressive and whatnot, but we kind of looked at each other and we were just like, let's do it. And we squared up at center ice, and it was a good little tilt. I hit him a few times. He hit me good. And then that was it. But what I won't forget is hearing the crowd. Like right before we engaged in the fight, you just hear the crowd, and it just erupted, absolutely erupted. So it was really, it was a cool experience. Definitely something I'm not sure if I'll find myself doing again anytime soon.
Hey, but at least you did it once.
Yeah, good to get it out of the way,
Yeah, exactly. And like I remember hearing the announcers, and like Mcburney's racing out, challenging Shipman, I think it was, and like,
Yes, it was Shipman.
yeah, and you just wanted to go to the bench for the TV timeout, but then you're like, oh, might as well throw down, like get some energy in the boys.
Yeah, we were up like 6-0, so it was one of those opportunities where it was like, I don't think I'll hurt my team here.
Yeah.
If anything, I'll fire them up a little bit. So
yeah, absolutely. And like that's all you do is in fights, just if the time's right, like just give the boys energy, and like everyone loves a good old goalie fight. Like there's nothing better than that.
yeah, no, it was definitely a funny experience. Shipman, yep, that was his name. And I spoke to him after the game. I went over to him. I saw him watching it on his phone. Thought it was funny, and I went over to him. I was like, "Hey, man, like, you all right? Like, you good?" And he was fine. So, yeah, we were both really good sports about it. So, I'm sure he was just as excited as I was.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you say that Port Huron's like a big rival for you guys, or like who would you consider as a big rival for you guys? Big rival for you guys?
Yeah, yeah, Port Huron's got some good players. It's interesting. They are a lot better than what their record is this year.
Yeah.
I feel like that's goes for a lot of teams too. But Port Huron has some skill guys like Dalton Jay, Graham. They get some players who can play. So, but I would say our biggest rival. We really don't like Carolina, and we really don't like Watertown. So
yeah, so those would be your biggest rivals.
Yeah, we have arguably one of the toughest, I'd say, players in professional hockey in minor pro. His name is Justin Schmidt, and yeah, he's one of my good buddies on the team, and I sit right next to him in the locker room, and yeah, he's going to be ready to go against Watertown because Watertown's got some tough guys, and
Yeah.
I know that a lot of teams in this league don't really get tough with us because of Justin Schmidt and what he's able to do. So
Yeah.
A lot of credit goes to him in terms of going back to controlling the game, right? Making sure people aren't getting away with hurting our guys, and he does it right. He plays by the rules. He's not cheap at all, but man,
Yeah.
someone you don't want
to square up with him.
No. And I sit next to Ian White in the locker room too, which is it's amazing. I sit next to a guy that's played over 500 games in the NHL. So
Yeah.
he brings so much to the table. He's a true professional, and he's been around the game for so long and understands the game so well. So really lucky to have him back down on defense. Sit right next to those two guys. So
sitting right next to a few good guys, a tough guy and a guy that's played a bunch of games in the NHL. Like you learn a lot from those guys, and you know that they have your backs as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to get into last year a little bit here, since you graduated in 2019, 2020 from UMass Boston, and you were supposed to go play in Hungary, I believe, right?
Yep.
So like what happened with that? Like obviously like the pandemic hit and everything. Like what do you do to help yourself stay in shape throughout that year that you weren't playing?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I took that year off with COVID. I wasn't able to go to Hungary, and Quad City wasn't able to have their season as well. So it was a tough year. I didn't end up playing that year, but I was living out in California actually, and I was working out in California, and for a tech software company, and I was actually lucky enough to get on the ice with some of the Kings players that summer. So I was skating up in LA or El Segundo as much as I could because they were practicing out of there. I got to watch Jonathan Quick and Cal Peterson up close quite a bit. So I stayed in shape on the ice, got to skate, once a week, and had an amazing gym I was able to work out in. So I really focused on my conditioning and strengthening areas of my body that I actually injured the year prior. So I had some lower body injuries that I was able to strengthen in that off season. So it was a great off season. Definitely tried some new things, and I think it's worked out great for me so far.
Yeah, so like, what do you learn from those guys that when you're practicing with the Kings, and especially taking shots from those guys, and then being able to watch Jonathan Quick, Hal Peterson up close, and just learning everything they do, and like how they treat their bodies, how they treat practices, and just being that true professional.
Yeah, again, back to opportunity and adjusting. At first, right? They were shooting the puck by me pretty quick.
Yeah.
But after the second, third skate, you adjust to it. You adjust to that level. So that's all I can really say about that. What I like about that, the higher level though, is that puck, like let's say it's a 2-on-1 or something. That puck is either going to be executed, right? That puck's going to hit that offensive player's stick. It's either going to be in the net or you're going to make the save. There's no broken plays. So, in that aspect of it, I really enjoy the, faster play, knowing that there's not going to be any broken plays or, just, errors that, don't usually happen at a higher level.
Yeah, and it's amazing when you think about it, and like it's a lot easier to stop a puck when, especially going up like the higher levels, when you know where it's gonna go, and like it's a lot easier to track the puck as it's shot harder than you would think it'd be the opposite. But like I would always have trouble with like the slow releases, but like the fast releases, it's like you can track without a problem, and just like it's so much easier to track a quick release and a quick hard shot than a slow release.
Yeah, like for example, there's a bit more broken plays in this league, and I've had pucks go off guys' faces in the net this year, just weird bounces. So I feel like that's something that as you go higher and higher, those bounces tend to not exist.
Yeah, absolutely. And so like throughout like that summer that you were training with the Kings players and living up in California, like what are some of your favorite like memories from that summer, and just being able to just train and just we're focused on condition and get better as well as working?
Yeah, the weather was really cool. It's not as warm as you'd think. There's a bit of, it gets kind of chilly.
Yeah.
But man, those sunsets out there are beautiful, very tough to beat, very relaxed out there. A lot of great places to eat, but it is a bit more expensive than, Massachusetts or here in Georgia. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But the views make up for it, and everything that you get to experience over there, like that makes up for it, because like you got the mountains, you got everything there, and everything just looks a bit more prettier than over there than it does in like Massachusetts or Georgia.
Yeah, nope, you're spot on there. But I'll tell you what, this place here in Columbus, Georgia is pretty neat. Again, really lucky to be here. Really thankful. Yeah, I'll tell you what, if anyone has an opportunity to come play here, consider yourself lucky. I've been a few other places this year, and the way we get treated here and our living situations, it's tough to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a place you want to go when the organization really cares about you, and like you just feel welcomed and loved with around the city, around the rink. Like that's where you want to play.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so I want to get into your junior and college career a little bit here before we wrap things up here. So you played in the BCHL for the Trail Smoke Eaters, playing 51 games. Like, what was the process like to sign in the BCHL from high school and prep hockey?
Yeah. So I was coming off a really great year. I played at Salisbury School. We won the Elite Eight New England Championship, three-peat. So I didn't really know what was going to happen. I was talking to a lot of Division I schools. Was talking to a lot of junior teams in the North American League, the NAL, the BCHL, the USHL, and
Yeah.
I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Had a lot of options, but ended up going to Trail in the British Columbia Hockey League. They promised me 85% of the games, which I believe they even they gave me more.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience. I was a workhorse that year. I set the record for games played in the regular season that year in the BCHL, and saw a lot of pucks. It's a very offensive league, but it set me up. I ended up committing to Sacred Heart University. Ended up going there, but was told I was going to get an opportunity to play. Didn't end up seeing any game time. I believe halfway through the season, and kind of talked it over with my family and decided that I wanted to play.
Yeah.
So, being from Beverly and being 35-40 minutes from UMass Boston, it was a great fit. UMass Boston is a powerhouse. When I got there, we were a top 10 team in the country. Three out of my 3 years that I was there, we were top 10 in the country, which is really hard to do.
Yeah.
I believe there's 70, 79, 80 Division III.
Very hard to do.
Yeah, so it was a really great league, the NEHC, which was us, Norwich, Babson, Hobart, New England College. So every night, you're playing against a top 15 team.
Yeah.
So, so I thought that, the level of play was definitely up there. My teammates, we had Colin Larkin, Dylan Larkin's older brother. He signed a deal with the Edmonton Oilers right out of UMass Boston, and a number of players that are still continuing to play professional hockey, East Coast Hockey League, SPHL, the Federal Hockey League. So it's a great organization over there at UMass Boston. So I was really fortunate to started my 3 years there.
Yeah, absolutely. So like when you first got into the BCHL and you had to like make those adjustments because you're playing 51 games, so I'm sure that's like the highest number you played in that season and like throughout like your high school prep and now junior days. Like was like that adjustment like, and then like having to play those 51 games, especially like when it puts a toll on your body, like what do you do to help yourself recover?
Looking back on it, I didn't really know that you weren't supposed to play all 3 games in a 3-3.
Yeah.
But here I am playing all 3 games, and I just kind of got used to it. Really wanted to win, even though some nights you're seeing 45, 55 shots in the game, still finding a way to win. But yeah, everything's an adjustment, right? When I first got there, it was a bit faster than prep school hockey. But first game, we won against I believe, yeah. So it was just getting your feet wet, opportunity, and adjusting and finding a way to succeed. I was playing against some really great players that year. A lot of those guys are in the NHL now, are playing in the American Hockey League. Tyson Jost plays for the Colorado Avalanche now. Dante Fabro, I believe, is with Nashville. I could just keep going. I could keep going. Yeah, but there was, quite a bit of extremely talented hockey players in that league. So definitely set me up for, being ready to see, everything and anything that could come at you.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you learn so much from playing with those guys and just taking shots from them at practice, especially like when you're like, these guys are legit and like they could be in like the NHL, the AHL, like you learn a lot from that. And like probably like the same thing you learn is like that adjustment period and just being able to adjust to those shots after a couple of days, and then just take it full stride and go for the ride at practice throughout the season during the games, and just go for a playoff run.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so like once your junior career came to a close, like you said, you went D1 to Sacred Heart, where you didn't get to play any games. So like, what did you learn throughout that opportunity in Sacred Heart, like when you're passing with Division 1 teams, Division 1 players, and just being able to use that momentum for like when you do go into UMass Boston?
Yeah. Just being a good teammate, right? Try
Yeah.
your best to be a good teammate every day. Um, really stay focused on your personal development and, how you're going to be able to get better every day. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be out of your control. And that's kind of what I've learned where, every single day, whether it's playing hockey or in real life, there's going to be a lot of things that you're not going to be able to control. And
Yeah.
I would say focus on the things you can control and don't worry about anything else. And that's where you usually will be able to find success.
Yeah, and being a good teammate's huge, because the hockey world's such a small world that if you're not a good teammate, like everyone's gonna know, and like that'll like block you from some opportunities, because some guys are just looking for like that locker room guy, that glue guy. And then if you're not a good teammate, and like especially like as a goalie, like you're probably not starting every single game, so you have to be a good teammate to your partner, because he's gonna get some games, and you don't want to like be mad at him or like have him be mad at you when you're starting, or vice versa.
Yeah, no, that's spot on. You want to, even when I'm on the bench, I find myself getting into the game more than I want to.
Yeah.
I go into the games like, okay, like Bailey, you just relax tonight and just try and stay focused and just relax. But I'll find myself just getting up every time we score, or just really want to win, wherever I am. Just really want to be on a team that, that wins and has success. And um, yeah.
Yeah, and like when you get into it, like that's when like you want to be a part of that team, because like everyone's bought into the system, into the program,
Mm-hmm.
into the organization. Like you're doing, even though you're on the bench, like you want the team to win, and you're doing everything you can to help your team like feel confident, feel comfortable like throughout the game, and just be there for them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so then you go in after Sacred Heart, you go into UMass Boston. So like, what was it like playing those first 10 games your first year, and like getting like a decent number of games throughout your freshman year?
Yeah. It was a bit of an adjustment. I remember that I didn't play all year. So I remember my first game. I remember showing up at UMass and getting situated and with my classes, and uh, Peter Belisle, the head coach over at UMass, goes, "You're playing tonight." And I had like, I think 2 days of practice, or I don't even know if I practiced yet. But we were playing at Fenway Park, Frozen Fenway.
Oh.
So that was my first game at UMass, and we ended up winning 5-1. I think I had like 40 something saves at Fenway Park against Babson College. So that's one I won't forget outside of Fenway Park.
Yeah, what was it like playing at Fenway Park, and like the conditions, like when you're playing an outdoor game, and just as well as like getting your first like college win at UMass Boston?
Yeah, oh, it was brutal. It was a warm day,
Oh.
and the ice was melting a little bit. And I remember, I think it was like in the second or first period, I like got pushed into the net and like fell back on my butt. And I was just drenched. Like I'm talking drenched in water, like I've
Oh.
never experienced before. So just, one of those things where you just have to adjust, and um, ended up getting it done there. But yeah, it was a great, uh, a great time at UMass. We ended up winning the NEHC my junior year. We won the league, won a bunch of tournaments throughout the year. Throughout my years there, and clinched our first ever home ice and the national tournament my junior year, which was really special.
Yeah, that's unreal. And like you're probably thinking they're like, I'm not supposed to have this much water on me after I get pushed in the net during that time in the Fenway when it was frozen out.
Yeah, wasn't good.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you go into your second year at UMass Boston where you play in 24 games, going 16-8. It's like, what was it like getting that experience at the Division III level and just being able to develop even further than you did your freshman year?
Yeah, had a great team. We were nationally ranked again that year. Early on, I think we were 3 in the country at one point. And we ended up losing in the semifinals to Norwich. Didn't have the record to get us into the national tournament, but it was another great year. Had a lot of great teammates that year. Only had one senior who was Colin Larkin, and Colin signed with Edmonton after that year.
Yeah, for sure. So like, does that leave like a bad taste in your mouth when you just miss like going to nationals, then like going into year 3, like you're able to win the conference championship and then get into the national tournament?
Yeah. It was definitely left a sour taste in our mouths. And that next year, I believe we returned 11 or 10 seniors.
So that's a pretty good class.
6 of them were on defense. So we had a very tough team, very skilled team. And we were really able to have a really great season that year. Yeah, that was a special one.
Yeah. So like you go throughout like that junior year and you guys are winning games, you win the conference championship and get into the nationals. Like, what was it like winning that conference championship and then placing your spot in nationals?
Yeah. So we won the regular season of the NEHC, and then ended up losing. We ended up losing to Hobart in the finals. Yeah, we ended up losing to Hobart in the finals, but had the record, good enough record to propel us into the national tournament, which is really special because we had one of the best records in the country that year, and got to host in the national tournament, which was really cool.
Yeah. So like, what's it like hosting that national tournament, especially like you get home ice advantage pretty much every time since you're at your home rink, and just that atmosphere, like, the fans are going to show up, and just that experience that not a lot of people get to see when they're in college.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of college athletes kind of dream about that stuff.
Yeah.
And, they want to be able to win a national championship and compete at the highest level. And it was really cool that we were able to do that. And it was really neat. The NCAA comes in and they deck out your whole arena, NCAA stuff, and they did the rink, and it's very official. The NCAA is the real deal. They, we weren't even able to watch the other teams practice.
So it's very legit.
Yeah, they had, people, you had the NCAA officials walking through the entire building. So you couldn't get into the rink without wearing your pass.
Yeah.
I remember that. So it was, that was a great experience. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a fantastic experience you got to experience. So then you go into your senior year and you play in 13 games, going 7-6. Like, what was senior year like, and how special was it like to be able to like finally like get to like that last part of your college career and then hopefully look for something to play pro in the next season?
Yeah. So going into my senior year, was definitely hoping for a better season. But I got injured. I had a really bad lower body injury. Ended up coming back too early, hurt it again. And I was only able to play 13 games that season, which was really disappointing. But it it was a good overall season. Learned a lot about myself and adversity, and knew that I was going to have the opportunity to play at the professional level, whether it was at this level, um, the SPHL, or the East Coast Hockey League. I definitely knew that there was going to be opportunity out there. So um, just tried to stay focused, and when I did get back on the ice, I was going to be ready. So
Yeah, absolutely. And like that's all you can do, especially like when you face like obstacles and adversity like that, and like just focus on like recovering and everything. So like what was recovering like during that season, just going to like PT and all that, and just rehabbing your injury.
it was really frustrating because um, it was the first time I've ever really been injured in my life.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know how to be told no, like how to be told, hey, like you're not ready to go when you're the guy, right? So
Yeah.
it was tough, but again, tried my best to be a good teammate, and ended up having a decent. We ended up having a decent year. Definitely not where we wanted to finish, but um, learned a lot about myself, and um, yeah,
Yeah, and that's where you need to control the controllables, because you can't control what you can't, like them telling you no, like you can't control that, but you can control like how you're recovering and still going to PT and putting the work in to help yourself get back into the rhythm of things and into the game eventually at the towards
yep,
the end of the season.
absolutely, yeah, yeah, definitely had to dig deep and play through the injury, but like I said, learned a lot about myself and my body, and I think it only helped me improve in the long run.
Yeah. So like what's like what do you do to help yourself stay like mentally in a good spot and like stay positive, especially like when you're being told no, and just that you can't play in a game, you can't go to practice. Like what are you doing to help yourself stay positive?
Yeah, it's a great question. Just trying to be around your teammates, right? Just trying
Yeah.
to be there as much as you can, and supportive. Um, but at the same time, I'm an extremely confident person,
Yeah.
and I have a lot of self belief, and it's one of those things where if you don't have that, it's going to be tough for you. So um, I definitely try to, just like every day, put my best foot forward, and really focus on what I can control, and what I can give back to the team to help them.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's all you can do is just control what you can control and control like what you're doing. And that's what's gonna help you like motivate you to stay on your path and hopefully recover quickly and be able to be good to go sooner rather than later.
Right.
Yeah. So like throughout like your college career, like you were a best player finalist for the best player in the country, and you also currently hold the title of most wins, goals against average, shutouts, and single season wins at UMass Boston. It's like what do those like awards and recognition mean to you, and just being able to know that you have a very big impact on UMass Boston?
Yeah, it means a lot. There have been some phenomenal players that have come through that organization, and that school, and uh, phenomenal goaltenders before me, and then there's going to be some phenomenal goalies after me. So um, I definitely did everything I could to leave my mark there, and I'm very proud to be an alumni there.
Yeah,
I had a
absolutely.
the school itself. Had a great academic experience there, got my degree there. Um, so every time I go back there in the future, once fans are back and allowed at the games, I'll be very proud. I believe that UMass Boston is going to be a Division I program pretty soon.
Yeah.
So even more exciting to be a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's incredible with everything that you went through, and like the long lasting impact you've had on UMass Boston, just being at the school and having so much success there. It's like what's been like some of your favorite memories throughout your 4 years there?
I would definitely say playing at Fenway Park, winning the New England Hockey Conference my junior year. We won the Colby Bowden Classic my sophomore year. And just remembering, the majority of guys' faces, right? Just, people come and go, but, there's, certain people that you're always going to stay in touch with, that you create connections with. And, I have some guys from UMass that will be some of my best friends for the rest of my life. And I'm just really fortunate to have had the opportunity to go there and meet them and have those experiences.
Yeah, those are great memories, and they will last a lifetime. And you'll, like, anytime you think of UMass Boston, like, those memories will come up for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a few more questions before we wrap things up here and get into the viewer Q&A really quick. But to start things off, do you have any tips for goaltenders looking to get to that next level?
Yeah. I would say if you're a goaltender and you're trying to move up to the next level, don't take anything for granted. Never think that you're better than your situation or anyone else. Really try and stay focused, and again, really try and be a good teammate, and control what you can control, because you're going to find yourself you're going to find yourself up against the wall, and you're going to have to be able to go to work and perform. Everybody's got a plan, right, until you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
So but just staying with it, and it's going to be a roller, every year is going to be a roller coaster, but it's really important to just really stay focused throughout that entire process and throughout that year.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great tip. You just got to stay focused and centered on what you want to accomplish and, like, what you want to do in that season, and just do everything you can to help yourself succeed from there.
Yeah, like there's so many talented goalies out there, as you know, and just to be able to put your gear on and get paid to play hockey is it's a blessing. So I'm very fortunate, and I try and take that with me every day.
Yeah, absolutely. So then my next question is, what's your game day routine like on a game day? Like, what's your daily routine for the game days?
Yeah. So we'll wake up and get something to eat. I like to have some fruit in the morning, banana, coffee, have a morning skate, and then come back, have a big breakfast, and then maybe do some stretching, do some icing, and then I'll try and get a nap. I really struggle getting naps, but I'll try and get a nap, and then have my pregame, and then I'll get to the rink usually 2 hours and 30 minutes before the game, and that's where I'll dial it in and start stretching and preparing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great game day routine. Like, once you stick with those routines, like, that's like when you become a true professional, when you have that routine, you're able to stay with what you want to do on a game day.
Yeah, it's all about confidence, right?
Yeah.
You just have to believe in yourself, and have the confidence that you're going to go out there and you're going to be able to execute your job, and you're going to be able to give your team a chance to win. And if you do that, 80% of the time you're gonna have good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it all comes down to, is just being confident in yourself and having that belief in yourself to help your team get the W.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So then my next question is, what's your favorite pump up song? Like, you're trying to get a little lift in before practice, like listening before you go into warm ups, like, what are you listening to?
It's a great question. I'm all over the place. I really like EDM, electronic dance music.
Yeah.
But lately, being here and living in the South, I've been listening to a lot of Morgan Wallen.
Country.
So that's, yeah, or been finding music that has been really not necessarily pumping me up, but
Yeah.
settling me down and helping relaxing me before I play. So that's kind of some stuff that I've been experimenting with.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same way. Like I'm all over the place. I'll listen to country. I'll go to pop. I'll go to EDM. Like whatever I'm feeling that day is what I'm gonna go with.
Yep.
Yeah. So I put on Instagram a question for them to ask you questions. So I have a few viewer questions before we wrap things up here. So let's get this thing started. So what's been your favorite save so far this season that sticks out to you?
Favorite save? Huh. Been a lot of pucks.
A lot of pucks to keep track of.
I've made a few really nice breakaway saves this year. Had guys trying to deke me, had guys trying to shoot the puck. But I would say, some of the breakaway saves I made this year have been pretty nice.
Yeah, like you always love those breakaway saves because it's literally 50-50 on those plays, and you're just able to just try not to bite on if a player makes a move, or if they just shoot it right in your glove or your blocker and like make a big save and keep your team ahead or within striking distance.
Yeah, I know it's there's a lot of breakaways in this league, and I've had a few 2-on-0s and had a few 3-on-0s, and but yeah, always just got to be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. So then the next question is like, what do you thrive off of? I'm guessing like when you're in a game, like what do you thrive off of, and just help yourself stay centered and stay focused.
Yeah, if my team, you'll know when they have it. I'll usually know when they're really going or they're feeling it. When they start scoring goals at will, that really kind of gets me going, because as soon as they score a certain amount of goals, I know that the other team isn't really going to be able to put that many in on me. So, so that really gets me going.
Yeah, that's a great way to get you going. Have you thrive off of your team scoring a lot of goals. Like any goalie loves to see that, especially like when you just got to give up less than they're scoring on the other side.
Yep. The at home especially, man. They this year they've really, some games it's obviously you're going to run into a hot goalie or a defensive core that's got your number, but we have some very offensive players on our team, so when they're feeling it, it's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got one more viewer Q&A question. So like, what was going through your head during the fight you got in? Like, what was just going through your head?
I was not much. I don't think I actually remember my first punch. I landed my first punch and I actually left my feet. I jump punched. You can believe that. Yeah. And then I think from down there, I think it went downhill, but I think I was just trying not to get hit and ended up getting hit real good in the mouth. So
well, at least you didn't break have any teeth fall out there.
Nope. All good. I got all my jibs still.
Yeah, that's at least good, because you don't have to pay for any dental work after that.
Yeah, but no, that was it was a fun experience that fight. Definitely don't see myself getting in another one anytime soon. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, no, it was all in good fun. I talked to that goalie afterwards, and we got a good laugh out of it. So, no hard feelings anywhere.
Yeah, both of you guys are just out there having fun, enjoying the game, and getting your first pro scraps. Like nothing better.
Right.
Yeah, but Bailey, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to following your career the rest of the way. And this is a ton of fun.
Yeah, Jack, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. Really enjoy watching, your episodes, and I've heard that you're looking to play professional next year, and I'll also be tracking you, man. And I wish you the best of luck. And if there's anything I could ever do for you, please reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the kind words, and we'll both be watching each other's career and see how it unfolds.
That's awesome, man. Well, best of luck, and be sure to stay in touch.
Yeah, to you as well.